Todd and Holly again. This time we're down at our property in Kentucky, and we've got about an acre and a half down here of wooded property along a lake. Lake's kind of up pretty high today, but we're down here, and part of having land in a wooded area when you're building certain things on a property is you want to manage that land, and so sometimes that means trees have to come down. And just kind of speaking to the guys, you know, this is definitely going to be kind of a guy video. I'm going to be showing you how to cut a tree down. If you're not interested in that, you can go ahead and turn the video off or keep scrolling, and we'll see you some other time. But one thing I want to say about cutting trees down is that for me personally, it's really hard physical work, and a lot of times with hard physical work, you get a chance to process things. You get a chance to maybe even process anger, process frustrations and fears and things like that. And a lot of times when you're just physically spent is a time when it gives you a chance to be calm and at peace, and that's when a lot of the distractions are gone, and that gives you a chance to hear very clearly from the Lord. And so that's why I like to do it. I like to just kind of just physically expending myself, and then just sitting back with a glass of whiskey and relaxing. And that's sometimes when I'll hear from the Lord. And so anyway, enough of that. We're going to get on to cutting. We got 3 trees we're going to take down here. 2 of these behind me, and then we're going to take this little one out, and then there's another one over here. So we'll get to it.
This one's kind of entwined in the one behind it, and I'm just, because I love Todd and I want him to be alive after he chops the trees down or cuts the trees down. I'm not sure what the appropriate lingo is. I want him to go over the pants that he's wearing and any other safety equipment he thinks might be deemed appropriate to cover.
Righto. Okay. Well, with that, we're going to start preparing to cut these trees down.
Okay.
There's really 2 cuts that we need to do here. So the first cut I'm going to do is a wedge. So I'm going to pick a spot somewhere in the front here, and I'm going to cut what kind of looks like a bird beak, a bird mouth opened up. So first thing I'll do is I'll cut the wedge here, and the wedge determines where the tree is going to fall. So there really isn't much choice. The tree kind of has to go this way because it's tangled up in this tree. So I'm going to cut the mouth or the wedge, and it's going to face this way. And then the final cut will be the back cut, and we'll get to that in just a second.
Just a second to move back here before you start.
So we got the wedge out. Normally you want the wedge to be about 1/3 of the way, 1/4 of the way through the tree. I probably went closer to half, but that's okay. So the next cut is going to be about 2 inches above the bottom of the wedge, and it's going to go straight across. And this will be the felling cut. couple things I want to show everybody. Number one is, if you look down here, what this looks like after the cut. That's pretty good. Sometimes I don't get them that good, but that one looks pretty normal. So you got, this is where the wedge was, and then this is where the back cut came in, and looks good. And then now if you just kind of pan down this way, so the next thing we got to do with this tree is I got to limb it, take all the limbs off. Some people have smaller saws for that. I only have my one big chainsaw, so it's going to have to do. So I'm just going to kind of work my way down. Most of the time I'm going to be coming underneath the limb because all those limbs are suspending the tree. And if I come from above, it'll try to pinch the blade. So if I come from below, it'll spread out as I go, and that will not pinch the blade. So I'm going to go ahead and do that.
Todd, it's coming down. I got nervous. It was coming right on top of you, and I didn't know you were paying attention.
All right. We talked earlier about safety equipment for cutting down trees. Just a couple things to remember. You definitely need to have ear protection. You can get these anywhere. You can even use sound deadening. They have noise canceling headphones. I think those might work. Any kind of eye protection is good. This I typically don't wear one of these, but unless it's an area where I might get hit by something. And so sometimes you'll have some of these and then they'll have a face shield on them, and that's really ideal. That's a great way to go. These are chaps that are made out of probably like a Kevlar type material. You just don't want to cut your femoral artery, and so these are a good investment if you do a lot of sawing. The chainsaw itself, this chainsaw has a bar here that if I get a kickback, it'll stop the blade immediately. So that's what that does, and that's a good feature to have. Always make sure you have a sharp chain on your chainsaw. Not only will you use a whole lot less fuel, but it's a lot safer the sharper that your blade is. Now the trees that we cut down they were very simple, and they were in an area that we couldn't really damage anything. So obviously if you got a tree in your neighborhood, make sure you're using ropes and pulleys and you have a crew of people helping you out. Maybe even get a professional if the tree could damage the house. Can you think of anything else, Holly?
That's it.
I think that's it. It feels like there was something else I wanted to say, but I think that's good for now.
All right.